He had a stellar career in the National Hockey League, a 7-time All-Star, Stanley Cup champion, and a gold medalist for Team Canada in 2002. And he is the central figure in a documentary called Victor Walk that debuted last night at the Dances with Films Festival. Pleased to welcome here on the show Theo Fleury. Good to see you, sir.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So we'll talk about the Stanley Cup Finals in a moment. We have some time with you here, and I want to give the appropriate amount of time as best we can in a show like this.
Thank you.
To Victor Walk, which is about you walking from Toronto to Ottawa. Correct? How many kilometers is that?
Well,
Theo?
it's 400 kilometers, and
Okay.
For you Yanks, it's 250 miles.
I appreciate the conversion because metric is not my
Yes, of course.
forte.
Everything's based on 10.
Thank you. I'll
Yes.
remember that. That's a good mental note. So you walked from Toronto to Ottawa to bring awareness to child sexual abuse, of which you are a victim.
Survivor.
The survivor. Pardon me if I used the wrong
Or
phrase.
Victor. That's why, victim, Victor, right?
Well, that's why we're having this conversation. Part of the reason why we're having this conversation, because I know that you would like to have this conversation and put it in terms that is acceptable, or at least for all of us to digest and help come back.
I think, I think the media sort of gets it backwards, as, we've been re-victimized enough in our life. And so when we come on a show or we put our story out there, that victim word is a very shaming word for us.
Yes.
It makes us feel bad, makes us feel sad, makes us feel.
Well, then I apologize if I referred to you as that.
No, it's fine. But we're sort of, this is like an education process for us to educate everybody on this subject and how it's reached epidemic proportions, not only in Canada, but worldwide, right? So 1 in 3 girls, 1 in 5 boys before the age of 18 are sexually molested worldwide. So that's 2/8, 1/4 into the population of Canada is 8 million. And in the United States, we got 78 million survivors of child sexual abuse. So, it's huge, and nobody talks about it.
Well, we're going to do that right now, and we are doing it right now. When did you finally get the courage to say something? Was it when you wrote your book in 2009?
Well, I think it happened before. I had a failed suicide attempt, probably, I think it was in 2004, I think it was, and it wasn't that I wanted to die. I was absolutely, completely exhausted from living in emotional pain and suffering. And, I tried everything on the planet to sort of suppress these feelings that I had. And then in 2009, I wrote Playing with Fire, which is my autobiography. And, all of a sudden, after that first book signing and after going across the country in Canada, we've had over 600,000 people either indirectly or directly say Me Too as well. And I thought, geez, this is huge. And so why don't we just go on a walk and see what happens? And I can tell you that the 8 of us that were on this walk, and we walked, 25 miles a day for 10 days. And, random people would just show up and tell us their stories.
Similar to yours, similar to Sheldon Kennedy?
Absolutely. It's all the same, and so many people have said
from youth sports though, or just in
general. In general, 80% of people who are sexually abused are abused by people they know, right? And so, we've had lots of examples. The Catholic Church, Jerry Sandusky, the Boy Scouts of America, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And the most staggering stat of all of this is that in the Sandusky case, only 10 kids came forward and then 32 after, right?
After it all.
After. Right. But what we know is by the time a pedophile gets caught, he has at least 150 victims by the time he gets caught.
Theo Fleury here on the Rich Eisen Show. So parents who are watching and listening right now, are there any signs that they could figure out? I mean, this happened to you when you were in junior hockey,
Yeah,
correct?
I was 14 years old.
14, my
you
gosh.
know.
So what signs could be viewed?
Well, I think we just need to be more aware of who is interacting with our children, right? You know, like if a coach is calling a kid at home at night, that's a red flag. You know, that's not his job, is to, to do that. Or giving kids rides home, or, taking them on vacation.
Is that what your coach would do with you?
Yeah, absolutely. But he also knew that both my parents were unavailable. My dad was an alcoholic. My mom was a prescription pill addict. And so, he knew that there was nobody in my life. And so he showered me with attention, and he was in a position of power and trust. And so
that's why somebody like him is called a predator.
Yeah, exactly.
Right there.
And that's how they set it up. It's a long process before a kid gets abused, because the guy has to infiltrate himself into a kid's organization.
Well,
right?
what about an organization? We're referring to Graham James. Who he's still in prison right now after getting out and then getting back in, right?
And he's about to get back out again. But he has no life, He'll have no life after, because his face has been plastered all over the media in Canada, and people know who he is.
So what about an organization? What can be done from the organizational standpoint to make sure that coaches are vetted properly here?
These guys are unbelievable. They're master manipulators of, the
predators you're referring to. Okay.
Of the system, and they're highly intelligent people, and so it's really hard to know if you have a predator in your organization or not until after the fact, which is unfortunate. But there's all little signs and red flags, and I would say to most people to go with your gut instinct. If you see something that's out of the norm or unusual, go with your gut feeling.
Act on it.
Act on it. Don't stay silent. Silence is the reason why, it's such a huge epidemic.
Theo Fleury here on the Rich Eisen Show. So how can people get a chance to see Victor walk? How come?
Well, we're just in the process of trying to get a distributor right now, and the premiere. It's an amazing documentary. It really is, and it's going to save lives. And after the screening yesterday, I had 7 people come up to me and say, "Me too," after the documentary. Right?
No kidding.
Yeah. And there was 50 people in the theater, so
1/5.
Right? So the stats don't lie when it comes to this. But for me, I look at my life now, and I look at all the experiences that I had, all my traumatic experiences in childhood, and they've really been a gift in my life at the end of the day, because I had to go through all these things to be in this position. Now, I always thought I was supposed to be a hockey player, but actually this is what I was meant to be put on the earth for, was to, to help people. And I think that I didn't have a whole lot of hope, after I left the game, and now I'm filled with, a tremendous amount of hope and inspiration from other people, and hearing their stories and speaking all over North America now and sharing my story. And, it's truly amazing to watch, because shame is such a big piece to this. It's amazing to watch people come up and shed their shame right in front of you, and then they leave the conversation. Their shoulders are different, their eyes are brighter, their movements are different. So it's truly amazing, and it's truly a gift.
Good for you, Theo Fleury. We'll take a break, and we'll come back. We'll talk about the Stanley Cup.
Awesome.
Okay, Theo Fleury, Victor walk. And if you see any signs going on with the youth sports league that involves your child or someone you know, act on it.
Yeah.
Act on it. We're back with more here with Theo Fleury in 1 minute. Theo Fleury right here in the Rich Eisen Show studios, 7-time All-Star in the NHL, and then the gold medal win for Canada in the Salt Lake Games in 2002. Game 5 tomorrow night. Sharks are in deep trouble.
Yeah.
Where do these Penguins come from, Theo?
I don't know. Well, the Mike Sullivan, who's coaching the Penguins, was my old left winger in Calgary, and just an awesome guy, and really down to earth. And I think when they had Mike Johnson in before, and he's sort of a, one of those technical guys, which wasn't my favorite coach to have, X's and O's and videos and all that. And so I think Mike went in there and changed the culture. As soon as Mike came in, Sydney started to play better. Malkin started to play better. They started to play a really up-tempo style of game. And, it's great to see. I do Mario's fantasy camp every year in Pittsburgh. And so, when the Flames aren't playing, I'm a Penguins fan. I have so much respect for Mario. And I actually sat beside Mario at the Olympics in the dressing room and, got to know him. And, it's really amazing that all these incredible athletes in Pittsburgh who played in Pittsburgh, and he's like right at the top as the guy that saved
Clemente. He's up there with Bradshaw,
Stargell, and all these guys, and
Mario for sure.
And they consider him like saving the city of Pittsburgh.
He saved the Penguins.
Yeah, it's unbelievable, and he's such a humble guy, and such a nice guy. So I'm happy for the Penguins, and. I hope that they win it tomorrow night.
Well, is Crosby cheating on the faceoffs? That's been the big scuttlebutt here, Theo.
If he ain't cheating, he ain't trying. So there's been cheating on the faceoffs in hockey since the time it started. You know what I mean? And it's just one of those.
So
things
why aren't they throwing him out? Why aren't they throwing him out if he's?
Well, because he has a lot of respect from the referees, right? And that's. That's all that old school stuff, that's still around. And when you're on the losing end of face-offs and your coach is yelling at you on the bench, like, when are you going to win a face-off? Of course he's going to say something in the media to try and...
Coach Orr, you're talking about Logan saying that he's cheating?
Yeah, but...
Just to go back to the boss and say... Yeah. Hey, he's cheating. Basically.
He's cheating, yeah, right.
Who was the hottest goaltender you ever played in front of?
In front of? Mike Vernon. Mike Vernon.
Well, because Vernon's, I guess, his record is going to be tied if Murray wins one more time.
That's right. And the year we won the Cup, we played Vancouver in the first round of the playoffs, and we finished like 40 points ahead of them. Mm-hmm. And we won the President's Trophy. And in Game 7, they took us to Game 7 in Calgary, and Vernie made 3 of the most unbelievable saves you've ever seen in your life. And if it wasn't for him making those saves, I wouldn't have a Stanley Cup right now. And he was incredible. And so every team that wins a Stanley Cup, the goaltender is usually a star in every single win of a playoff run.
Yeah, I mean, Murray again. Actually, it's Ward, Hextall, and Waugh, whose rookie record he would tie if he gets his 15th win of the postseason, and they pulled him at one point during this stretch.
I know, and they put my brother from another mother in there, so.
No relation?
No relation.
Oh, okay.
But he tells everybody he's related to us.
Wow.
I don't know why.
Why wouldn't he? I mean, you're a 7-time All-Star, Theo. I mean, so you think the Penguins take it in 5? Or
I would have to say they will tomorrow. You know what I mean? And that's the thing about, when you got a team down and you're stepping on the jugular there, you gotta finish it off.
You don't want to go back to the Shark Tank in Game 6 and fly back across. Too.
Exactly. When you have a team down, and I played in 5 Game 7s in my career and lost 4 of them.
Wow.
And we were the favorite in every one of those series. So, when you have a team down, you got to take them out. Otherwise, anytime they get life or momentum, it's always an uphill battle after that.
Theo, thanks for coming on, sharing your story. Victor Walk, check out that documentary. I hope you get your distributor ASAP. And thanks for coming on. Come back, will you please, when you're in Los Angeles?
Oh, yeah, I would love to.
You're the man. Thanks, Theo. You bet. Theo Fleury is here.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.